May the words of my mouth and the thoughts of our hearts be always acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. I remember two things about Dr. Barton, who was headmaster at City of London School when I was there in the 1960s. The first is that in the fifth form he took us for scripture. Every week he would go round the form and ask us our names. And you are? Fielding, sir, I would say. And he would reply, thank you, Phillips. He never got the name right. Obviously he thought I was somebody else, someone more memorable, but I've got over it by now. The other thing that I remember about Dr. Barton, who was a physicist who worked at the Cavendish Laboratory in Cambridge, was that he said you were closer to God on a mountain. I have to say we all thought that was rather odd, especially for a scientist to say, except perhaps as a metaphor, God being, as it were, up there. But actually, as I read the Old and the New Testament readings for this evening, God giving Moses the law and the commandments on tablets of stone on Mount Sinai, or the transfiguration of Jesus on Mount Tabor, I think that I start to appreciate that there might just be something in what Dr. Barton said. Because mountains are sacred spaces and God does things on them. He speaks to us and he asks us to listen to him. Full stop. So let's go first of all to Mount Sinai. We are with Moses, the leader of a people recently led by him out of slavery in Egypt. There are slave people who've been freed. And God gives Moses the law and the commandments on tablets of stone. It is a hugely important milestone in the life of the children of Israel, because God, their Redeemer, is making provision for their well-being. He wants them to coexist as a community, to have a life together which is based on love and neighborliness. And when the face of Moses shines radiantly, it is the visible sign of the presence of the living God, conferring on Moses the right to lead and to speak for God. Listen to him. We turn to the Gospel of Mark on Mount Tabor and to the transfiguration of Jesus. To his inner circle of Peter, James and John, Jesus' identity is revealed in glorious radiance. Jesus is glimpsed alongside Moses and Elijah, the law and the prophets. And as Moses and Elijah fade from view, Jesus is now shown as embodying and representing them both. Jesus is the new Moses, so he embodies the law of the Lord. He is a new prophet of Israel, a new Elijah, so he embodies the word and the way of the Lord. And so God says, listen to him. Whenever the prophets say, listen, and they do it frequently, you absolutely know that something important is being said. And when God says, listen to him, you absolutely know that what is being said by Jesus is for our good. On Wednesday, later this week, on Ash Wednesday, we will begin the period of Lent, the time par excellence when we can go apart, not of course necessarily up a mountain or just into a quiet room to listen to God, to recover once more a sense of what the way of Jesus might mean in terms of neighbourliness for ourselves, our families, and our world. Amen.